Pesachim Daf Pei Aleph, I received numerous emails and outpouring and concern for Shira Bas Dvora, a young woman who had brain surgery and still in a coma. And people are saying that they're very friendly with them. Her husband Joey is a famous doctor. I come from a Chabad background, says Daniel Rubinoff. Learned in Litvish Yeshivas, went to YU, live in a modern Orthodox community, whatever that term means. I never thought I would be doing the daf, but started last year when my shver got sick with COVID, etc., etc. I sponsored a few weeks ago. I had a few people reach out to me from Toronto, Brooklyn, Teaneck. I had no idea that they're also part of the MDY family. Unfortunately, I do not have an update on Shira. He goes on and on to say what great people they are. Michael Cohen also says the same thing. I'm very friendly with the Schatzkitzes. The Joey is a famous doctor, and he's a true mensch and a geschmacka attitude, etc., etc. So the Olam was asked to please say Tehillim for Shira Bas Devora. Yesterday we had this amazing halacha Mishmah Sinai, and that is that typically if a person touches a dead body, he's tamei, and whatever carbon he brings is puzzle. But if it's tumas atahayim, the dead body was never realized that it was buried in a certain place, and a person definitely touched that body, he's tar, because it's tumas atahayim, halacha Mishmah Sinai, you don't have to be concerned with it. Rava proof from that brisa that says that it's only by tmei mace. It comes to exclude, says Rava, if somebody touched the sheretz, an unknown sheretz, he's still tamei. But Rava proves from that if a kohen performs the avodah, he's tahar if he touched a dead body. Rabbi Yossi says there's no raya. Perhaps that brisa is coming to exclude not a sheretz, but perhaps it's coming to exclude a zav. How do you have tumas natahim by a zav? A zav is somebody that has an emission. He waits 7 days of pure days of tahara, no emissions, goes to the mikvah. After he goes to the mikvah and waits for Erev Shemesh, that period of time is tumas natahim. It's an unknown tumah. What if he sees an emission, then he'll become a zav again. If he doesn't see, he won't see. It comes to exclude that person, that he is tamei if he sees an emission. The fact that Rabbi Yossi says that a shimeres yain, that's a woman who's a zava who saw 2 days consecutively, and she's also trying to keep one clean day in order for her to be tar. That clean day, if it starts off clean, we say mixas hayom kakulai, it's as if she did the whole day. And Rabbi Yossi says, therefore, she doesn't eat in that period of time. However, she doesn't have to bring another carbon pesach. And the question is why? L'chayra, we would have to say because she gets a kapara from the tzitz, and he says no, it's because mixas hayom kakulai. It's as if the entire day was clean, and we start from here on out. We don't go retroactive. So if she sees a ziva right now, you don't combine it with the days before. It's from here on out. However, we know for a fact, or Yossi says that retroactively, whatever she sat on has a tumas medrash. So we must say that that retroactive part is only a derabana. In fact, Rabbi Shai says so specifically when he's speaking to Rabbi Yochanan. He says, Rabbi Yochanan, you don't go retroactive. You're exactly like Rabbi Yossi. But we just said Rabbi Yossi holds you do go retroactive on Tumah. Must be that he meant Rabbi Yossi says you go from here on out forward midaraisa, but midarabanan you go backwards a little bit retroactively. So according to Rabbi Yossi, there's no such concept of Tumas HaTahim by Ziva because we don't go backwards. So the brisa that says that Tumas HaTahim is only by Tmei Meis comes to exclude a sheretz and the owner. So the owner touched the sheretz, not a kohen. We don't have proof from there yet for a kohen, because Rabbi Yossi holds that if somebody touches a sheretz, we do not shech the carbon pesach for him. We don't say, oh, he's going to be tar tonight. Let's just shech now. Let him eat later. And therefore, it's tremendous chiddush. Even though he touched the sheretz that was unknown, he still remains tameh. Now, according to Rabbi Yossi, that says mixas hayom kakulai, a part of the day is as if the whole day was kept b'tahara. So how is it possible for a woman to see ziva 3 days in a row to make her a zava g'dayla? Every day when she wakes up and there's no ziva, we'll say that minute is counted as the full day and she's starved. How do you combine 3 days? According to Rabbi Yossi, we have to say it's an extreme case of where there's a flow from beginning to end, all 3 days straight. Or there's a flow during Bein HaShmashos, during twilight. So for instance, during the twilight, the Bein HaShmashos of Friday going into Shabbos, she had a flow. That counts as 2 days. The following day, Shabbos, going into Motzei Shabbos, Sunday, she also had a flow. And Memela, Shabbos and Sunday are another 2 days. So we have a total of 3 days of Ziva. The Gemara says, if you're going to say that a kohen is tar when he touches Tumas HaTahim when he is makriv a carbon, Pesach, so that would apply also to carbon tamid, because we have Gzeir Shava, Mo'adoi, from carbon Pesach to carbon tamid. However, without this Gzeir Shava, we wouldn't be able to learn a Kal V'chomer from Pesach to tamid. And you would say, if there's a known tumah, you cannot bring a carbon Pesach because it's a carbon yachid. Yet Tumas HaTahim, you could bring the carbon. So the carbon tamid, which you could bring a carbon tamid in a state of Tumah Yedua, you know about the Tumah, so certainly you should be able to bring it in a state of Tumas HaTahim. And the answer is, since the halacha mishum Sinai, you cannot make a kavachomer for halacha mishum Sinai. We see that Rebbe Eliezer tells his Talmud, Rebbe Akiva wanted to learn that an etzem kisayir, a very small bone, which doesn't create tumas oil, yet it makes a nazir start his count all over again. So certainly a revius of blood, which creates tumas oil, it's very strong. So certainly if a nazir touches it, it should be soiser his nazirus. He should have to start from the beginning. And Rebbe Eliezer says we don't make a kavachomer when it comes to halacha mishum Sinai. Etzem kisayir is halacha mishum Sinai. The Gemara brings an asmachta, which means it's not a true proof from the Torah. It's just a nice raya to the halacha mishum Sinai that of tumas adhaim. It says v'chiyamos meis olav, that the person, the nazir, has to recognize that person. If he doesn't recognize, it's not considered a tumah. And by Pesach it says b'derech rechoika lachem, that it's recognizable to you. And Rish Lakish says kederech, just like a street, a way, everybody knows about it. So too, tumah, everybody has to know about it. So the brayso that says that tumas hatahai means that no one in the world knows about it, it doesn't go according to all these shittas that we just said, because according to the shittas, it's either one person doesn't know, two people, but the whole world. Over here, it means no one at all. So therefore, we say it's halacha mishum Sinai. These psukim are just a nice riot to it. And the Mishnah says that the tzitz of the Kohen Gadol is miratza, gives a kapara for tumas hatahai. That is, even if the tumah was known before the zrika, like the brayso that says that if you find a dead person laying across the street in a way that it's impossible to cross the street without stepping over this body, and later on you found that there's a body there, so you're tamei when it comes to truma, because by truma there's no concept of the tumas hatayim, but you're tar when it comes to korban pesach and korban nazir, because that's where we have the idea of tumas hatayim. Now the Gemara just says there's a few qualifications. The body has to be whole, because if it was broken up, maybe you walk between the breaks. If it's a grave, then the grave takes the body and makes it one piece, and the tumah goes up. If somebody's riding on an animal or something like that, then it's impossible for him not to create an oil over it. And it's only when no one in the world ever realized that there was a body in that place. Now, if you find the body, let's say, under grain or something like that, that is considered tumas hatayim. But if you found it in clear water or in the dark, that's not considered tumas hatayim, because it's possible that people knew about it. Have a wonderful day.